Okay. So please, those of you who didn't play Kingdom Come, could you go home and quickly get back once you played it? Because, yeah, you will not get everything, probably. Sorry, I will just set up the timer because I'm always late. Today I even start late, so it will be even better. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So, hello everyone. Good. Good afternoon. Welcome to this presentation. After the previous talk, I will go back to the ground and speaking about practical things about bugs and glitches and clashing systems. And since it's deadly serious issue, I will start with a joke. Yeah, it's official joke from the joke section of the internet, and it's about the people who had functioning. Yeah, okay, it works. Who wanted to open a new pub. So what they do, they call QA technicians to test it before the opening. So QA came and asked what can one do in a pub, and they say, well, you can order various types of beverages. So they started to test. They ordered 1 beer, 2 beers, 17 beers, minus 1 beer. They tried to order 1 water, 65,535 and 1 waters, all water of the world, minus 3 point, etc. water, and 1 cabbage, and everything worked. So the pub was approved and could be opened. Then the first real customer came and asked, where is the toilet? And the pub burned down. So this is what I will be talking about today, about burning pubs and people running in terror. My name is Viktor Bocan. I work in Warhorse Studios. I circled myself on the picture as always. And this year we finally released our first game, Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's also our biggest game yet. And it came out with few bugs here and there. So I actually take this opportunity to explain how open world games work, why they are bugs, and why cannot we do anything, what can we do to fix that? If you're planning to work on the huge open world game, it may be interesting for you. If you played it and encountered bugs, you may find out what we do to get rid of them, and you can, well, when we create a new game, you can leave your doubts here. So, first of all, I made a little research, look at the most buggy games ever created. Well, I'm lying, I didn't do any research because I knew what I will find. So if you look at any article talking about the games with a huge amount of bugs, it's always or almost always open world games. If you sort them out, there is always Batman Arkham Knight, which is the most open worldy part of the series, Assassin's Creed Unity. There is always Skyrim and Oblivion in the list, and it's only because Daggerfall is too old to be remembered. There is always Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, Superman 64, and Sonic Boom. So the obvious question is, what the hell is Sonic Boom? But it's on the list. But the rest of the games are open world games. All of these lists are 1 or more years old, so there is no Kingdom Come yet. But now, new champion arrives. Because, to be honest, anything they can do, we can do better. On the a little bit more serious note, people are not very happy with this, and I will talk about it more at the end of the presentation if I have time, which I hope I will not. And I would say, well, these are obvious things. The games are bigger, much bigger than they were before. They are much more complicated. The hardware can make much more interesting stuff, so the games get even much more bigger. And of course, that means that they will be more complicated, and that means more bugs. So it's not that current developers cannot make good games. They are just too big. And yes, we tested it. We also have QA department. They are very nice guys and girls. And let's talk about it. Yes. So, the bugs. If you are developers, you know very well what are bug classification. So there are terrible bugs, more terrible bugs, even more terrible bugs, and definitely the most terrible bugs. But I think that when we are speaking about the open world games or complicated games in general, this is obsolete classification. There are completely different type of bugs now in the big games. So there are bugs. Those are bugs you can find, people will find. You can potentially fix them or put them to different category. There are bugs that you actually kind of know that should be there. They were not yet found, so you hope they are not there, but they are. Then there are bugs that we know that are there and we found them, and we keep silent because we don't know how to fix them. Which is another section is that bugs that cannot be fixed, and they are still there. Finally, there are bugs that are not bugs, which are bugs that you're trying to explain people that this is really how the game works. And the final popular category, not bugs but features. It's popular jokes between programmers, but to be honest, it's much more in complicated games. The features that seems to be bugs are actually much more common than you would expect, and I will be talking about them. Even more important part of classification is where the bug comes from. And because, the bugs, obvious thing, but most of the bugs you have in the open world games, it's not the typical technical thing. It's like, if you tell scripter to send this NPC to Skalitz to lay on the bed, and he tell them to write to the Ratai and kill the bailiff, it's the bug, because scripter did something different than he should. But what actually happens is that scripter ordered the NPC to go to Skalitz and lay on the bed, and the NPC says, okay, and writes to Ratai and kill the bailiff, and it's the problem. And it's the... So you can classify the bugs by the source, how that actually happened. So the rest of the talk will be actually going through all these categories, showing examples and saying sorry. So assuming is that you assume that something works some way, and it does or doesn't, who knows. The other category is underestimating the players. And this is what you always do. You never can actually be ready for what players will bring to your game. And yeah, I was talking about it a few years ago when I was talking about AI. It would be much better. The Kingdom Come would be a much better game if it wasn't playable. The third source is similar thing, but on your side, that you made some systems, people will use it normally, but you did not imagine that they will do it this way. And the fourth category is laziness, again on your side, that you just don't finish stuff. Complicated systems is definitely the most complicated part. And there are technical issues. Those are the bugs you typically consider bugs in technical meaning, like crashes or going out of memory. But I would say that it's quite a surprise that it's not a majority of issues that we found on our support. So, yeah, they are important, but well, you will fight them as you would in any other application. Not enough time is not really a bug; it's more like excuse. But you have them. You have features or bugs in the game that are not perfect because you didn't have enough time to implement them. And the final source, which is again much bigger than it looks, is that people play your game with different mindset that with which you created it. And it's also an issue. So now I will show some examples. And talk about those a little bit to more depth. Just, well, what's the meaning of all this? I just want to present the systems, show you how it works internally, and persuade you at the end that there must be bugs. And we cannot do anything with that. But we'll try to fix it. I will show you numbers. So the first source is assuming, and it means that you have faith in something, that it will work the designed way. It means that you create some systems, you believe that it is how it will work, and the problem is that it does, but it doesn't mean that it looks like it. And I have one of the most popular bugs in the Kingdom Come explained. Yes.
Bring it on.
Okay. And now I'm going to tell you that it works exactly as it was implemented and as it was intended, which is quite sad. Do you want to see it again? Oh, no, okay. So what actually really happened here? First of all, we assumed that the navigation mesh is everywhere. You probably know what the navigation mesh is. It's some kind of simplified model over the terrain, over the buildings and stuff, so the AI can navigate through stuff. So we use Recast, which is some open source interesting solution. We were not very happy with the nav mesh and pathfinding that was implemented, that was included in the CryEngine, and it works great most of the time. So your assumption at the beginning is that if you let the nav mesh to be generated, it's everywhere where it is possible to get, because it's the definition of the nav mesh. So everything is great. But there are holes in the nav mesh, like you have, if you don't have this beautiful industrial city, which is completely squared, and you have wild nature environment like we have. You have, for example, boulders or some other bumps on the roads, and sometimes it happens that the nav mesh is not generated on these places. So for the combat system, this nav mesh is crucial to let NPC to fight with you. So we kind of count on that there may be holes, but we decided, and that's the problem with the assumption, that the holes are always quite small. Like there is a big boulder, player can get onto it, and there is no nav mesh, so the NPC cannot get to the player, but he is in reach of the sword, which is good. But maybe there are bigger holes. So we think about it and said, okay, there may be bigger holes, like, I don't know, player can get into the rocks or into some building that is closed, and he found some glitch how to get inside. So in this case, he will be invisible. So we created the combat system so that the player, if the player is out of the nav mesh and is not visible, the NPC interrupts the combat and goes his way. And if actually that happens, that the player is on the hole in the nav mesh, which is big enough, and NPC still can see him, NPC will just pull a bow or run away because he will detect the situation. And this is the perfect solution, and nothing can go wrong. So the only explanation of the video you have seen was that our AI learned secretly Kung Fu. But actually, it wasn't the case. The thing was that there was one particular place at this bridge where the nav mesh was not generated. But as it was close to the bridge, because this is the bridge to the castle, it was very close to the rest of the nav mesh, so close to NPC think that you are on the nav mesh. So he got your arrows, your arrow to the chest, look around, thinks, okay, you are in nav mesh, I can start the attack, and the AI system told the combat system that he is close enough to start the attack and he can start the attack. And because combat system measured the distance and said, okay, you are too far, and aligned the NPC to the player. So he just actually starts kicking on the bridge, and the alignment makes this beautiful Kung Fu move. And that's it. The problem is that you assumed that something like that never happened. If there is a hole in the nav mesh, it's somewhere in the nav mesh, not at the bridge. And there is one place in the game, in the whole game, I believe there is one place where this happened. And of course, there is a player that stands on this place, and it's illegal place. He needed to somehow glitch the game to get there. And he decided on this very place, which is only one on the map, to start to attack the NPC. And actually, accidentally, he recorded that. Which is good, because it's a beautiful video. But in reality, it's really a bug that is happening just here, or other places that we have not yet discovered. But the system works fine. I have worse example. This is this one. Player creativity. Yeah. It happens when you had no idea that your game actually works some way that people found, but it does. And of course, speedrunners are the worst kind of players, but we love them. This is the Sazava, is the monastery, which has a huge and quite beautiful, I'd say, gameplay where you need to somehow infiltrate into the monastery, become a monk actually, and investigate something inside, find the one guy you are ordered to kill and to kill him. And you can spend few hours in the monastery by playing with the monk. And we have records of people who actually finished the game there and stayed in the monastery forever, because that's what people do in the monastery. So But we are open world game, so we were ready for players that will want to finish this quest different way. So it's perfectly all right if you just rush in there, kick the door, kill everyone, and because you kill everyone, you kill even that guy you are ordered to kill. So you finish the quest. Or you can even somehow shoot him because there is a construction site nearby. You can get up to the roof and try to kill this guy. Well, this...
Trying this time because...
Sorry, I will... Maybe.
That'll give me energy.
Yeah. Okay, so here we have this guy. This is another glitch we thought we fixed. When you get out of the down from the horse, we checked if there is no collision and don't allow you to get through that collision, usually. He gets here, he runs. There is a guy in the white. And done. The first arrow was actually to make the guy stand up, and he really knew already that he will be eating at 1 p.m. I believe, so he waited on the bridge to 1 p.m. That go here, kill the guy, and he can proceed. He finished the game in 3 hours, I believe. And we worked on it for 7 years, come on. Well, monastery itself is actually a nest of bugs. I may talk about them even more. And only side note is that I love it. I love because I watch speedrunners playing Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and stuff like that, and they are glitching all the time. And now they are playing the Kingdom Come, and they are using the same technique. It's great. We are in good company. So, not enough imagination. Yeah, it's tricky because it means that we are stupid. You actually come up with a quest. As a designer, you design multiple solutions, and that's it. You believe that it's done, and it doesn't. So, if we go back to this guy, it's actually the guy you killed in the monastery, and you need to meet the bandits who gave you this quest and bring them the proof that you killed the guy. And what you see on the picture is that they ask you what proof do you have and where is that body. And I give you a few minutes if you can find the body on the picture. And actually, yeah, and this is something that is in the game, and it's probably in every quest there is some aspect of this lack of imagination, because what we designed was you need to kill the guy in the monastery and you need to bring a proof. The proof is something in his pocket because you kill him and bring it. There are various ways how you can finish this quest. You can even do not kill him. You can tell him about this assassination attempt, and you can befriend him and he will run away, and you will provide fake proof and things like that, and you can even persuade the bandits that you killed him without killing him or without bringing the proof. But that's it. So what we haven't thinking about was if you bring the body. Because body is not an item, you cannot simply in the dialogue say, hey, I have him here on my shoulder. So it doesn't work. And there are many other ways how you could actually finish the quest. Like, for example, if you would kill him and they would arrest you for that. So that means that you can come to the bandits and said, hey, look at me, I have a proof that I killed him, this is it on the paper, I was in the jail for that for 20 years. And they would say, okay, great. But this doesn't work. You can get arrested for the murder. You can be in the jail for a while, because it was much faster that time. So you were a few days in the jail, and he wasn't good guy. So yeah, you were just few days in the jail. You can go to them, but you have no way how to tell them that you were actually sentenced for the murder, which is the proof. And what is a little bit sad, you cannot even take him to them and kill him before them to see. So, but it's from some other technical reasons. It's quite far from the monastery, and the actual reason why we didn't consider bringing the body was that it's quite tiresome to bring the body to the long distances, and it's quite far away. So we believe that no one will ever do that. But of course, the internet is full of images about people doing that. So. These are kind of bugs that we should solve, and that we were meant to be thinking about that and solve it. But on the other hand, if you look at the game, we have like 100 quests, and I believe that if we brainstorm right now here with you, we will find a few, 2, 3, 5 things in every of them that we didn't solve. We also haven't too many people, so we can only do what we can. And we also do not have many testers. And their job is ordering beer. Or in other words, what the testers do, they actually test what we put into the game. They cannot test what we didn't put in there. But to be honest, we have really cool testers who actually do more than they are asked. So they actually found this bug about bringing the body, because they are also players and they tried it. And well, that's the point 4, laziness, because they were told by the designers, by us, that they will not solve it because, hey, come on, who would do that? So yeah, we have him here again. And actually, around this situation, there were much more bugs. And what actually happened when you bring the body to the camp, to the bandits, is much more complicated, and it again shows how deep the systems are. Because if you want to talk to someone, they need to be friendly, and bandits generally are not friendly people. So what we needed to do is that they are not actually real bandits. They are just normal people behaving like bandits. But normal people do not like seeing dead bodies. So, yep. Well, okay, I don't need to talk about that even more. So the most funny part is that when you bring the dead body to their camp, there is a cutscene first. So, and in the cutscene there are also, of course, there are no real NPCs with real AI. So there are some puppets that are talking about, arguing with you, telling you that okay, you will, I don't know if you finish the quest, if you killed him, you can persuade them that you killed him. Everything seems all right. Then the cutscene ends. Real NPCs streams. Looks at the body and gets crazy. Some of them can go hiding, some of them go runs around, and some of them go all the way to the monastery to report that there is a dead body on the creek. I believe we still decided that no one will do that. And it generally works because the quest is finished in the cutscene and you can continue your game. Only there will be some bandits running around the world screaming, which is all right. And speaking about this point, I would say that the laziness is a little bit harsh word for that, because we simply cannot do everything. And it's not that we are just few people. We also have a voiceover. This is actual photo of our script prepared for the voiceover. and it's really big. I don't know if you can see it. So if we say, okay, let's make a new option in the quest that you bring the dead body, it would mean if you do it in the old times, you would just write 3 lines of text and everything would be all right. Now you need to call actors, arrange the recording, and make a lot of stuff around it, which means we are actually in the most terrible time of video game development in this aspect, because I believe in 5-10 years the computer will make most voiceovers, which will be fine. Who need actors? You will buy one actor so you can have it on the box, and all others will be generated voices, which is great. But we are now in the time that you already need to have everything voiceovered in the game, because, well, you need to, and the computer is not good enough to get Oscar. So now we need to record it all, and that means that we are limited in this way. We really can sit down and look at all the quests and find out other solutions, how they can be solved. And even if we had time to implement it, we still need to write more dialogues, record it, then find out that there is a new solution, write new dialogues, record it, and we would go crazy. That doesn't mean we didn't go crazy over this. We did it for a year or something. And as you can see, there's still holes in the story. Yeah, okay. We don't have much time, so let's skip this. I just wanted to talk about what is different between those 3, but never mind. Yeah, complicated systems is something that is most interesting, and yeah, I will talk about one example, which we called internally CSI Talmberg. Talmberg is this beautiful city that you know from the beginning of the game. There is a bridge with a hole in of mesh, and not only that, there was also a girl named Olena who gets killed, and the problem is it's not a quest, and there is no script for it, and we didn't know who killed her. But what actually happened was that our QA guy was just walking around the Talmberg and saw that the guards are alerting and running somewhere. So he followed them and found out that they found the dead body, and they tried to investigate. And they really started, one of them started to look around, or one of them started to look at the body, one guarded, one reinforcements. So he tried to restart the game. Olena was fine, living in the village, happily village life. And after a few days, someone killed her. And again, guards came. And it's not the end of the story. The problem is that we had no trace. We didn't know what happened. How they tried to investigate the murder, we didn't know about. And later, another girl gets killed. So there was only one explanation. Yeah. We knew that we have a serial killer. But it was strange because, well, he was obviously living in Talmberg because nowhere else in the world was actually found dead. And he was only killing girls. But he didn't steal anything. Well, we didn't know. Well, at the end, we found out that there was a special spot on the creek when girls could come for water. And there was a simple bug in ledge. Ledges are invisible part of the geometry showing when you can get around obstacles. Like if the creek is too deep, you have a ledge on the side, so you can NPC can come to it and play the animation that it actually gets out of the creek. to the bank. And there was a bug that this ledge was accidentally 7 meters tall. So this girl, knowing nothing, go to the creek, grab some water, get back, use the ledge, appear 7 meters above the ground, and fall down and died. But the Thunberg guards didn't believe us. And they actually started to guard that location more extensively after this incident. But we fixed that. Yeah, this guy again, but we don't have much time, so I will skip, because there is one more quite funny bug hidden in it, but it will stay hidden. So I will skip that, and I will skip also the physics bugs. We had a beautiful bug. We have a alchemy minigame in the game, and we have like 5 or 7 alchemy tables all around the map, and one of them was 1 centimeter higher than the others. And well, in-game physics and current computers and 1 centimeter times velocity. So when the player actually tried to use this table, he will launched into the air. And we have few videos about it, and people are quite happy because suddenly they see the land in all its wildness, and they are happy looking around, say, oh, it's a beautiful country, and oh, it's really modeled even far there, and then they start to get back. And that doesn't end nicely. So technical issues are really simple technical issues that you would expect in any game, and also in Kingdom Come. So these are 2 people staying on one place. I believe that once we had all Battle of Pribyslavitz staying on one place, which was cool. It's like 70 people. So if we ever make a fantasy game, there will definitely be creatures that are created from more people on one spot, because it's really scary. This is just physics. The horse will stay like this forever if you try to jump across the wall. It's fixed already, but it was very nice because it usually happened when someone was streaming the game. He was just jumping on the horse, and suddenly horse stopped. He didn't know what happened, so he got down, looked back, and horse was in this position, and quite happy. He was there, just looking. Sometimes he was feeding from the ground and standing there. This is, it's not very visible, I believe. It's the person who is lying on the bed that is actually on the other side of the wall. But yeah, that happens. It happens to me every night. Yeah, and these are people losing heads. Also nothing special. So, yeah, technical issues. It's always boring stuff, so I will not talk about crashing and troubles with the save systems, which would be interesting, and it can be quite interesting tech talk maybe next year from some programmer about how we tried to save the game, which was okay, but what we tried to load it, which was terrible pain. Unfinishable quests, which is terrible. And unbelievable things happening in the world from technical side. I will quickly remember, I have some notes here. Yeah, the most funny part, I believe, was memory cache. We had some problem with memory, so what we did, we of course instance the characters, so we don't need to load them all the time from the disk, but there was some trouble with index in cache. So you met a cow, we load it to the memory, and when you meet an NPC, we get this model from the memory, but where there was a cow. So what you actually did was that you went to the shop, there was a pig. You started the shop with the pig, and everything was fine. You could just buy things, sell things, and you increased your reputation with this pig. Well, not enough time. We don't have enough time to talk about it. And it's obvious that there is a lot of features that were not finished as planned. And just for a list, and it's not a complete list, it was just what I was thinking about when I was writing this down. So horse combat battles are much smaller than we actually think at the beginning. Various quest lines needed to be dropped, and it doesn't seem it's a bug. Well, there are not that many quests that we planned, but you may consider it as a player as a bug in the story, that you have some characters and they start to evolve somehow, and then it ends, and you will not talk to them again and it's because that you had few really funny quests following what you already played, and we needed to cut it, which is sad. Well, it's too long to talk about, and we were speaking about the monastery, and it works, I believe, quite nicely. There's a game in the game that there are really people that live just in the monastery, but the fun part is that we had no system for it, because our NPCs can go anywhere they want, and you cannot lock them somewhere, lock them up, because they have all the keys from everywhere. So we locked the monks in the monastery, and we were not able to finish the system about keeping them on place. So we just created their day cycle and occupation and stuff they do, everything into the monastery, and hoped that they will not leave. But then you came in, killed the guy you needed to kill, they see the body, run to the guard which is outside the monastery, get through the locked doors, and did all this stuff. So this is what we fixed actually, but there is various systems here and there in the game that are not finished, and we know about it. And this is the last one, is wrong game, which seems strange, but actually, yeah. When you start selling your game, then first people who will buy it are those that like your game, that follow you from the whole development. Then you start to make discounts, and more people will come, and those are people who only saw the picture of the game and said, oh, it's beautiful, hey, it's yellow, I like yellow color, I will buy this game. And then we got this kind of Steam review. There is a beginning of the game and you need to run from the village, and there are killers behind you, and you know nothing, you are just a village guy, they will kill you in one strike. And this particular guy was trying for an hour to kill him, and he was killed again and again and again and again. And his idea was that if this is the first enemy of the game, and we all know that the first enemy of the game is always the easiest because it's the tutorial, so the other enemies will be terrible. So he returned the game. And yeah, I just very quick. Well, I started late, so I will end late. Sorry. It's very interesting so to speak about other people. Bloodborne is, in my opinion, one of the best games ever made. And it was released on the PlayStation just after launch of the console. And if we remember those times, there wasn't many good games. So this was one of the first that got beautiful breaking rankings and excited reviews. So a lot of people who had this console bought it, and it's a great game for Dark Souls fans. It had 92 Metacritics, and a lot of user reviews saying, what the hell is this? Because they were expecting God of War or something like that. And it was like, okay, I have this new system, there are not many games, and this one get only positive reviews, I will buy it. And then they look at it and said, oh, what the hell? So that's something you need to think about. If we think about how to deal with these troubles, you found out that there is many ways how to destroy these bugs, but there is no way you can destroy all of them together. So if we have better internal processes, which is something Martin was talking about this morning, and we are improving these processes all the time, we can eliminate, and I don't want to say eliminate, I would say that we can get better in some areas. But as I was talking about, we can exercise and not be that lazy, but we are just not able, because it's not in physical powers of the human beings, to really come with every solution of every quest and make it happen in the game if the game is not simple, I don't know, simple old school RPG with the camera from above or something like that. Better planning would bring us more time, but we did the best planning we could and still hadn't more time. Better design would eliminate these issues, but yeah, I wanted to. It's not an easy task. It doesn't mean that our designers are bad. There are awesome people, but they don't have much experiences with creating huge open world medieval RPGs, because we created the first in the world. So the only thing that can actually bring this is that you have experienced designers. And by experience, I mean people who are experienced in games. So if you are looking for a designer, you need to find people that are passionate about playing games. So I have a note here: do not hire a designer who has time-consuming hobby, which is not game playing. Like traveling around the world too often or something like that. Better testing is always okay, but as I've already said, we have awesome testers, but they also have just 2 hands, 2 eyes, and just 23 hours a day, not more. This is, again, interesting topic, automation. Yeah, I still have time. And it would be, again, great talk, great technical talk. We already have some interesting systems that actually run the game and take care of the open world. So test how it works if everyone is okay in the world. So we would find all and that sooner than the Talberg guards right now with these systems. And we are actually, what we are doing now is we are trying to develop the system that would play the game generally. So really plays through the quest, through the story automatically in the night. And then we don't need the players. And this is the most interesting part that I will have no time about talking about. And so I will skip it to the end. Yeah, better marketing. If we could tell people, hey, this is great game, it's beautiful game, it's now only for $10, but don't buy it, really. Because you are a casual gamer, you will not like it. So we would eliminate this category. But I'm not very sure that we want to do that, because maybe in every casual gamer is somewhere deep hardcore gamer hidden. Yeah, I have some statistics. Throughout the development, we had 45,000 bugs. We fixed some of them, most of them. There is a current bug statistics. Yeah, as font is broken. Ah, okay, sorry. There are some other interesting statistics about what we did was we analyzed the Steam reviews, and it's interesting stuff that I will need to skip. Sorry. Yeah, this is good slide. It's what people like most and what people hate. So you can get this info and tune your game around that, probably. Then we did some analysis, and the sentimental analysis told us that most reviews that mentioned bugs and were negative were actually positive, because it was really that people, if you go through those negative reviews on the Steam, it's usually, or very often, like 76% of those say, oh, it's a great game, I love it, but, and now rant starts. So it's interesting input. If you would see those tables I skipped, you would see that hardcore gamers, like those who has more games on Steam or played more hours in our game, like it more. And the casual gamers didn't get it, because we tried to get them to beautiful forests and nice castles, so they bought the game to see the beautiful forests and nice castles, but someone killed them in nice castles, in a castle, and bear ate them in the beautiful forest, so they didn't like it at all. Yeah, so it means that if there would be less bugs, there would be more positive reviews, which is interesting. But the final 10 minutes is about this most important. Oh no, okay, just look at your mobile. It's fine. That what I wanted to bring with these thoughts is, I will look at the next slide. Yeah, I will start from the trivial things. What we need to fix, definitely. We still have crashes in the game. And if you would see the table I skipped, you would see that people that experienced crashes weren't very happy, which is obvious, and we are doing everything to fix that. And the same is for the stacking quests. But there is many bugs, or the categories of bugs I was talking about, that simply cannot be fixed, because there are colliding systems, and of course we fixed the Kung Fu Man, which is very shame, because it's always nice when someone learns Kung Fu. But in some complicated systems, if we fix something that actually emerges from this collision, then there is a high chance that it will appear somewhere else. And for obvious reasons, the quests are written, and we will definitely need fix some bugs in the flow or something like that, but we will not come with the new quest solutions and stuff. And again, if you see how many bugs we have, we still have a lot of work to do. And the final conclusion, this is the final slide, and it's empty, which is not a bug, it's a feature. And that's it. And no. What I wanted to say was, that I don't want to sound that if we were less ambitious, then we would create less buggy game. It's probably the truth. We will create less buggy game, but I'm quite sure that we would create much worse game. Because if you are indie developer and it means 120 people or less, like us, then you need to decide. You are not Ubisoft with 3,000 people on a project. So you can either make a simple game, and it's perfectly fine. Simple games are great. Beat Saber is quite simple game. It's one of the best games I have ever played. Factorio is, again, one of the best games I ever played. I spent 7 hours in Factorio tonight, last night, because I thought that it will run on the secondary monitor and I will go through my presentation, but yeah, haven't touched it actually. And these are not really simple games. Factorio is quite huge, but it has limited amount of systems, and that they don't interact with each other too much, which is okay. You can do game like this, or you can have an ambition for a bigger games, for a bigger game with many systems that will collide and that will glitch each other, and you have only limited power to make it flawless, and you need to choose how complicated it will be, with the set side that it will bring bugs here and there. So if I could travel through time, well, I can travel through time, but only I forget myself and wake up 3 hours later. But if I could travel back and was at the beginning of the Kingdom Come again, and I knew how many bugs we will need to fix at the end of the game, and was thinking about whether I want or not make game this ambitious again. Boom, boom. I would do it again, and I believe all Warhorse would do it again. And yeah, it's something I was talking about last year. Yeah, good. He's thirsty, so yeah. Can someone lock the door? Thank you. I'll just hold it. Yeah. So yeah, well, that's actually it. I don't believe that we could make a more simpler game with less bugs. I believe that it worth it. It's if you have this ambition to create a huge project that never created before, just do that. And yeah, there will be bugs. You will fix those that are serious, but people lying outside their beds, guards looking for Olena that died magically. It's beautiful part of your work, and what can you do? Well, yeah. So, thank you.